Katamari Damacy means so much to me. Like, not simply as a gaming experience, but what its existence represents, in my opinion. I've played a ton of games, and I noticed that I desire a lot of variety. I don't really stick to one genre. Like, sometimes I like funny jumping man, and other times I just want to shoot stuff. But after gaming for so many years, you kind of familiar yourself with most genres. It's harder for games to surprise you, and that's completely fine. Not every game has to reinvent the wheel. But to me, getting to play something fresh, something that brightens your view of what games can be, well, it can feel even better than sex. I need something that's different, something I've never played before. Like something I couldn't even put in a single genre. I need... Synopsis and opinions, wow. In Katamari Damacy, you play as a green guy, the prince. Your dad, the king of all cosmos, blew up all the stars when he was drunk one night. And so, of course, you have to clean up your dad's mess. You collect stuff by rolling up things with your big, sticky ball called the Katamari. After this, the king turns what you collected into a new star and puts it way up into the sky. Since the prince and the Katamari are very small, you'll start rolling up things like paper clips or coins. But as your Katamari keeps growing and growing, this will start into rolling up people or buildings or even islands. Or twins? Yeah, this game is weird.
I love it.
Katamari was deliberately designed to be different. Like, being different was the entire intention of the creator when making Katamari. In an industry where every franchise gets tons of sequels and gets reused every couple years, Katamari wanted to be something gamers have never experienced before. By the looks of it, they succeeded. Hard. I mean, Bandai Namco did pump out like 20 more sequels, but that wasn't the intention of the creator. It's a whole mess. Forget it. Blech. If you're looking at the description of Katamari Damacy on like Steam, it will describe the game as great soundtrack, casual, surreal and colorful. And while Katamari does fit these terms, it doesn't really describe a game all too well. Personally, I describe it as dopamine the game. You'll constantly get new successes and victories that keep you motivated, but you'll still have a chance to lose by having little obstacles in your way. Since controlling your little man in itself is fun,
In my opinion.
the game only needs to have hurdles for you to overcome. Stuff like enemies, barriers you can eventually overcome when you're big enough, and the time you're given to reach your objective. These are all great ways for the player to be pushed back a bit, but the game will never be impossibly hard or anything. Just little factors to make winning even more satisfying for the player. Gameplay wise, the game is so addictive. Since your ball gets bigger the more you collect, you'll basically get these constant drips of dopamine, always getting more and more and more. You'll probably reach the requested size in the mission, but your mind will probably go like,
I bet I can grow it even bigger.
It's a brilliant system where your efforts get rewarded instantly. Instead of reaching level 11 in any RPG or something, here it's extremely clear how much you've grown and what it can do for you, with even more potential rewards if you keep going. Like at the beginning of a round, you might get kicked around by a mouse, and then 5 minutes later you kick his ass at the building he was living in. There's never a moment where I said, yeah, well, that's big enough, I'm content. No, it's more like, alright, I have a minute left. Maybe if I go to the zoo, I can finally roll up that elephant, and then I can grab some of the buildings if I have time left. I will roll up the entire city if I have to. The game also tries to stay fresh by giving you tasks that are varied per mission. The objective of a level isn't always, make ball big, you win. The constellation levels, for example, give you more specific tasks. Like, for making the Gemini constellation, you're tasked to roll up as many twins as possible. Or, to make the Ursa Major, you're tasked to roll up a single bear, like as in one bear. The level ends when you collect one single bear. Better roll the big one! Art-wise, it's perfection.
Oh, I love it so much.
Sure, some people might see low poly art as cheap or old, but fuck that man, give me low poly games all day. This style was also used so the designers could quickly design a lot of different items, which made sense because they were on a time limit while making the game, but also because every level has to be filled with a gazillion objects. They couldn't be detailed on the PS2, or otherwise it would... Alright, I'm gonna talk quickly about the music because I know jack shit about it. Like, I'm an art guy, I like video games, animation, all that stuff, but music isn't really my subject. But saying that, I fucking love the music in Katamari. Especially in the first game. You have classics like or even I don't really have the words to describe why I love the OST so much in Katamari, but it's just fun, man. It's just constant fun. A lot of variety with stuff like jazz, techno, or just straight up elevator music. Like, I don't know a better way to describe this one, but yeah, that's elevator music, right? Just go search up the OST. You won't regret it. Trust me. I hope I convinced you to buy 20 copies of the game at this point, but of course the game has gotten some complaints over the years. For starters, the controls. To many, controlling the Katamari is a bit funky, which, fair enough, it is. Moving both sticks on the controller makes the prince push the Katamari. If you pick up the game for the first time, this might be a bit strange. But to me, this isn't really a flaw, it's more of a learning thingy, I don't know. Since the difficulty of the controls are kinda part of the game. Kinda like a game like Getting Over It, where the controls are difficult, but when you achieve something and get to a certain point, then it feels extra special. Because you did it despite of the controls. Or something like Dark Souls, just being Dark Souls. Like in these games, the game being less accessible is somewhat deliberate. Like it's impressive if you can smoothly control the Katamari, but for the most part it probably won't be the reason you fail in a level. The size of the Katamari also affects this. When your ball is small, it's much easier to control. But when it has clumps of stuff connected to it and it isn't really a smooth ball anymore, then it's much harder to push. Which, you know, makes sense. A ball that has 50 buildings connected to it? Yeah, that would be a lot harder to control. Look, if you're content with reaching the requested size, or just need a bit more time to complete it, well, that's fine, you still win the game. But if you have time left, most likely you want to grow it even bigger. And when that happens, you'll see that the Katamari is much harder to control when it has giant clumps of stuff connected to it. It creates its risk versus reward kind of system, where getting a bigger Katamari means working harder to maintain it. I can't really, of course, excuse all of this. If you don't like these controls and it makes you want to stop playing it, then fair, that's all up to you. But to me, this is partly where Katamari stands out. I've played a ton of games and I kinda know what I like and what I don't like. But what I definitely like are games that try to challenge me, try to invite some new way of playing a game. And sometimes, yeah, it doesn't stick for me. It just happens to work for me in Katamari. But even if it didn't, it would still stand out to me. Like, oh, they are trying something, they're doing something different. To me, creativity is so much more important to me than just being a good working video game. These controls aren't perfect, and you might not always have butter smooth controls. But you're pushing a giant ball. I don't think it should be controlled perfectly, honestly. Like, look at this shit. Could you maneuver through a street while pushing this monstrosity? You want a bigger Katamari? Well, then you better do your best. The second issue people talk about is that the game's level design isn't varied enough. And I partially agree with this. Like the game has a couple of places it reuses, like a house, a street, a city, and then eventually the entire world. This could definitely make the game a bit stale. Like if I go through the same house 5 times, then I'll probably get bored. Like I know the game is from the PS2, so I totally get why it had to be this way. But I don't like to counter every argument with, well, it's from the PS2, so To its credit though, the game is smart about how it uses its limited spaces. An early level might start in a room or a house, but the next level lets you explore the entire house. Or then the house and the garden, or the street around the house. This way the game lets you become familiar with an area, and eventually you might get bored with this area, but then hey, new area to explore. It expands to a way bigger playroom. I do want to make clear that just because I don't really have a problem with these critiques, it doesn't mean that the critiques aren't there. If a lot of people have problems with a game, then it probably should be mentioned or addressed. But I do think that the game was deliberately designed in a certain way. And by changing the controls or changing the level design, you might remove the identity of the game. I think it's way more interesting to have a game that fits certain people's playstyles, instead of changing everything to fit for everybody. Because that's just not realistic. If you like Katamari, then great, I love you. But if you don't like Katamari, Now if you don't mind, I'm just gonna ramble about my favorite game ever. The game has such a contradicting vibe. You're causing mass genocide while you listen to it. Not sure if the controls are for you? Unfortunate. Well, here they are at the startup screen, so you know if you will like it. Get your money back. I don't know how they turned the worst father ever into a comedy goldmine. The intro to this game is just crazy juice, but it's still cohesive? Somehow? How did they do that? The prince has little scuba goggles when he's underwater, it's so cute. And there are a lot of presents you can find, so you can just customize your own little prince. Characters have all these dumb sound effects that will just stack on top of each other. Like, listen to this. Cops in the area will just shoot at you. Like, honestly, they're just doing their job. Like yeah, fair enough. This fucking joke. It's honestly amazing how much they... This game isn't just a 9 out of 10 on IGN. Would recommend. It's an example of art that shows that we can break the genres and rules we have set up in our medium, and that the only thing that the game has to do is being fun. And as I get older, that becomes harder and harder to find. I could honestly talk for hours and hours about this game. And I probably will. I mean, there's sequels. I might. For now, oh my god, did you release a new game while I was recording this? Okay, maybe a new video, bye!